DonInLondon, hello. It's September the 14th, the real day for me. I've just been catching up on my videos, which are all about recovery from addiction to either substance or behaviour, or both. My addictive substance was alcohol, so an alcoholic in recovery. Some say recovered, some say this, that and the other. What matters is how I live life today without a drink inside me. And also, don't get addicted to people, places and things, or addicted to thinking I can control people, places and things to the way I wanted them to be, or want them to be. I don't do that anymore. Life is life. Life is the same for everyone. If we understand we have freedom of choice based on real life situations, they work out better often if we are in the moment and able to deal with what's going on. And if we can't deal with what's going on our own, ask for help. Life is a series of learnings, or humility to keep on learning life. We make mistakes, we learn, and we move on. But if we make mistakes and don't learn and don't move on and don't acknowledge or accept the unacceptable truth of now, which it is sometimes, we end up in denial for a long, long time. Or even before we get to denial, we are ignorant of our condition. Something ain't right, and we don't know what it is, and we don't really want to find out, because it means life may get difficult, or we have to stop doing things which are harmful. Not only to ourselves, but to other people as well. And for me, that was alcohol. Anyway, September the 14th, my video all about recovery is based on daily reflections about how a 12-step fellowship has helped me on a daily basis. And that fellowship is Alcoholics Anonymous. I don't speak for AA, I speak for how fellowship has helped me live life, as sober as I may be. But it doesn't mean I'm right and you're wrong. It doesn't mean that there is any right or wrong at all. It's just a commentary on life, sharing experience, strength and hope of what it's like to be sober and deal with life as it goes along. So for the last 2 days I've been helping other people who I care about deeply. I love them, and they are as important as anything to me in life. Everybody's important. Everybody contributes in their own way, sometimes positively, sometimes negatively, sometimes just by being there and being a good influence, because we need to take account of other people in our lives, or how else would we live? I'm just going to turn my email off. So many noises off, so many interruptions over the last couple of days. It's left me a bit bedazzled, if you like, by life. So in the process of helping other people, sometimes I get quite tired out, and that's alright. I need to rest. But I feel uncomfortable this morning, and the reason I feel uncomfortable is a lot of things have happened, a lot of doing and being, so I need rest later. What helps me keep sober? This fellowship, AA, Alcoholics Anonymous. How does it do it? Well, first and foremost, I had to find out about it. So part of these videos is sharing the message to everyone. I can't describe addiction so a person who has no addiction can understand it. People with addiction understand the malady too well and don't know how to stop, and I didn't. I needed as much help as I could find from anywhere and everywhere. So everything contributes to my well-being, as well as I can be on a daily basis, and not be driven mad by life in general, as many people are, because life is extremely difficult at the moment for just about anyone, whether you have a pile of money or a pile of debt. Life is difficult. There are great big rifts in our society. So being sober is a good way of starting to make sense of what is real, what I can do and what I can't do. And that's how it is. Doesn't mean I can solve anything. I can make the best of what is. So how does AA help me, the fellowship? On this little card is the AA Preamble, which I share at the beginning of all my videos, as is shared in all meetings of AA. What you see is what you get. and I am just one voice in recovery, and there are tens of thousands of people expressing their experience, strength and hope every single day wherever they feel it is right to do so. And that is their right, absolutely. And they choose how they want to live. It's their choice in a very difficult world. Anyway, the AA Preamble reads as this: Alcoholics Anonymous is a fellowship of men and women who share their experience, strength and hope with each other, that they may solve their common problem and help others to recover from alcoholism. So we all share experience, strength and hope. So it's the many voices where we find wisdom which is appropriate to us, life experience which is appropriate to us, and hope which is appropriate to us. So we may not hear it from some voices speaking, but there may be one voice where we hear our story and a message of hope. The only requirement for membership is a desire to stop drinking, and that is the only requirement, a desire to stop. There are no rules, laws or regulations governing anyone in fellowship. We are all trusted servants working for recovery, in unity, service and recovery. So nobody can tell you what to do, and that's of prime importance, because any addict will reject control of any sort, because why are you trying to control me? Rebellious right down to the very core of our being, which is very challenging if you're trying to give something up which you believe has been your best friend for a long time. So the only requirement for membership is a desire to stop drinking. There are no dues or fees for AA membership. We are self-supporting through our own contributions. So if we have any spare money, we make a contribution to tea, coffee, rent, biscuits and literature. That's as far as it goes, and we only have a prudent reserve. We don't want money to be an issue when it comes to recovery. So the fellowship only has a prudent reserve. It doesn't hold vast amounts of resources. And if you haven't got any money, don't put it in. Or if you have just enough money to live on, don't put in. Why? Because I did, and it really wasn't good for me. Pride and ego, to stop feeling shameful and guilty about not earning enough, was hindering my recovery. I had to learn humility in every element of my life. So pretending to put money in, a few coins or a lot of copper coins rather than a pound coin, was keeping me in shame. It's better to pass the pot on to somebody who can put a few pennies in, rather than stop yourself eating and then rely on the biscuits in the meeting. Oh, life is complicated, or it can be if we let it be so, and we don't have any humility. AA is not allied with any sect, denomination, politics, organisation or institution, but we all are. It does not wish to engage in any controversy, but we do. Neither endorses nor opposes any causes, but people do. But the fellowship doesn't. It's about a desire to stop, and our primary purpose is to stay sober and help other alcoholics to achieve sobriety. So we stay sober, but we still have our own points of view, which you hear all the time in the fellowship, and it's absolutely right that we do. The fellowship itself, though, doesn't endorse anyone's ideas, points of view. It's just there to offer the 12 principles how to live open, honest and willing, and the 12 traditions how to work in unity, service and recovery to be sober. So the steps, 12 steps, is what I talk about generally, and I also share from this book daily reflections. Some say it was brought out as a challenge to the little black book of daily reflections, which is published by Hazelden. All daily reflections are good for us, even if we don't like them, and the simple answer is it makes us think and hopefully feel right about life. We have an opinion, I feel right about my opinion. It doesn't mean I have to say that's a load of rubbish. It may be rubbish to us, but it's not rubbish to somebody else, which is why we are respectful of each person's point of view in recovery. And no one person can tell another person what to do when we are all trusted servants equal, without leaders who control or exert power. So if you feel like you're being controlled in any way in fellowship, tell them to bugger off. Yeah, tell them to bugger off, mind their own business. It's all part of growing humility, is not knowing the answer for other people, but sharing the answer as it's working for you. But it doesn't mean your answer is applicable to everyone. You share it as a way of how life works for you, but you don't say do it this way or the highway. It's more a question of find out which way is going to work for you when you hear another person's story, learn from it, and if they've got anything to offer as a suggestion, maybe it's worth considering. So it comes down to freedom of choice in the end. If life runs to freedom of choice, based on real life and real boundaries and real constraints, that is, it's not about our way or the highway, it's by negotiation and understanding and common ways forward. Then if people are able to express their innermost thoughts freely, without fear of retribution, freedom of speech, without doing harm to others, I think that is all part of it, part of the responsibilities of living a life and not resorting to a gun to get your own way as much as possible. And I don't know the answers, but I don't know the big answers to wars. Please don't let's go there. I want to talk about recovery on a day-to-day basis, that we are impacted by what nations do and what we do as a nation, and we vote for it. And a question asked about the riots earlier, to me, are the riots over? Yes, they are, but the frenzy of control coming out of it by government is quite frightening. We see our government, our Houses of Parliament, where a group of people, 500 or 600, stand in the chamber and shout at each other. And it's like it is expression, it's freedom of expression, and they tell whopping lies as much as tell whopping truths, but it's based on belief. And there they stand, shouting at each other, belittling or encouraging yah-boo politics. It's their own pressure valve. But when it comes to the streets of London, something seems to have been forgotten. If you don't offer the same freedom of expression, the pressure valve ain't there. So are the riots over? I don't know. But the frenzy of control which is following on, where some people think that they are right and the rest of the world is wrong, is a very naive position to have. And you can only see it's over, otherwise you get back into the prejudice of left, right or centre, up, down or middle, whatever. It will drive us bonkers. But we do need freedom to find our path, and for fellowship, that's what's worked. It's allowed me the freedom to grow and stop drinking, stop fretting, stop trying to control people, places and things, or be with the right people, in the right place, doing the right things. What I thought I ought to do. It's more a case of being human and being able to take a decision based on freedom of choice and the freedom not to drink today. So that's where I'm coming from. My outlook is not the same as anybody else's outlook, and I'm really glad about that, because it is the difference, the diversity of solutions in fellowship which worked for me. One person had one idea, another person had 10 ideas, and between them they helped me greatly. And then that works for everybody every single day. There's always a nugget of remembrance to old days, and a nugget which is going to work today, a nugget of truth. And you never know where it's coming from, so we have to listen out and suspend our judgments and prejudices as they were, and live in a more humble way. That is humility to keep on learning, make mistakes daily, big and small, and own up to them, don't cover them up. Secrets will keep us stuck in old behaviour. Secrets make us more able to keep being ill and sick, and in the problem of addiction, and addicted to being right. I'm glad I'm not right, but I can be reasonably sensible on a daily basis. So I share the AA reflection first, although it's only 15 minutes into the video, and I do go on a bit because I know maybe one person will see one video. on one day think, well, that's got something in it, maybe I could go to AA to find out a bit more, and then live life free of fear, free of putting on a brave face, and free to express my feelings and who I am and what I stand for, or not. So you never know if something's going to work for someone, and if it helps one person, it's been worth it. And if I help no one, it's helped me just sharpen up my outlook for today. But I always say, I emphasise, it's the many voices in recovery which make the difference. One voice is not enough. It may be a stopgap, but it's not enough, in my humble opinion. And it's right for me. Anyway, the AA Daily Reflections for today. A new life. Yes, there is a substitute, and it is vastly more than that. It is a fellowship. It is fellowship in Alcoholics Anonymous. Life will mean something at last. Now, if you'd asked me on my first day of arrival at AA, was that true? I'd have said no. And I was heading for the nearest public bar to drink a couple of pints of beer to feel better about life, and how horrible that people could suggest that alcohol was my problem. Anyway, it goes on to say, life is better without alcohol. AA and the presence of a higher power keep me sober. And you know what my higher power is? Truth, love and wisdom. The ability to hear truth, which is beyond my opinion and judgment. Truth of what is. Love, how I am able to love people and be loved back. And the wisdom which comes from other people. So truth, love and wisdom is God to me. I could never define God. If God made the universe, I can't describe or define the universe. So how on earth would I ever think or feel that I could be as omnipotent as to be able to define and be equal to God? But that's just me. And I do believe it is the wisdom and it is the sentiment which is the spiritual essence of living in the moment of now, able to cope with it, and when I can't cope with it, ask for help. So, life is better without alcohol. I can thoroughly recommend that. AA and the presence of a higher power keep me sober. That is fellowship, truth, love and wisdom. Absolutely help keep me sober, as long as I ask. But the grace of God does even better. It brings service into my life. Now that is, I guess, for me that is, there is a bigger picture always, of which am I part. I don't control it, I don't manage it, I don't impose conditions on it. It's just as life is. And if God is anywhere, God is now. Contact with the AA program teaches me a new and greater understanding of what Alcoholics Anonymous is and what it does. But most importantly, it helps to show me who I am. An alcoholic who needs the constant experience of the Alcoholics Anonymous program, so that I may live a life given to me by a higher power, or by my higher power. Well, I don't own the higher power, it's not my higher power. I feel spiritual is the ability to live and cope with what is going on now. That is, live in the moment. And if God is anywhere, it's in the moment. And all around me are people with wisdom. So there are many higher powers than me. I can't describe God. And on any given day, anyone, if you don't know about God and you've lived for 100 years and you don't know about God, you know there is something bigger than you. So there can be ignorance, atheism, agnosticism. Atheists don't believe, agnostics don't know, and those who do believe in God have a knowledge of a greater presence on this planet than just us. And I can go along with that. I'm not trying to judge anyone when I say those things. I just don't know some things. But the higher power for me is in the moment always, and available, contingent on the day I ask for help, which is I need to see beyond my own view, my own judgments, and for that I need help and reflection and meditation. And there's no doubt wrong with that, as a Yorkshireman would say. Yes, I am from Yorkshire, although I've lived most of my life in London. Anyway, more on this day, September 14th. quite a few things this morning as I was catching up on videos from the past 2 days where I missed due to more pressing and important matters. Peace and serenity seem to be contingent on my spiritual condition, the ability to live in the moment of now. My spiritual condition is the ability to cope with reality as it is today. I still hope, and I still see the funny in tragic. Reality does not disable me when I live it. It enables me to have freedom of choice based on life as it may be today, not as I make it. I have freedom of choice based on real life as it is, but not the fantasy that I'm in control of it. That's this morning. And then previous years. Peace of mind. Most people would be glad to have some peace of mind in their life. They would be happy to forget their troubles, problems and worries and enjoy a few moments of inner calmness and freedom from obsessive thoughts. What is peace of mind? It is a state of inner calmness and tranquility, together with a sense of freedom, when thoughts and worries cease, and there is no stress, strain or fear. Such moments are not so rare these days. I was always looking for it, rather than living it. So if you're looking for peace and serenity, you're trying to look outwards and find it. It's there already, if you only let go of looking, and just be yourself. There is serenity in just being, sitting still for a few minutes and saying, yeah, how do I feel? Why? What may I do? How will I fit in? How many mistakes will I make today? I hope I make many and learn from them, rather than someone telling you, as we're sometimes told to me, a person in your position ought to know these things. And the answer is no, we don't ought to know anything. We only know what we know based on the life we have led, and if we haven't any experience of it, even if we were ruler of the world, it doesn't mean we're right, and it doesn't mean we know. We still need to keep learning what is going to work today. I can recall years of obsession, people, places and things, especially when in love, and especially with career. I would tie myself in knots, doing the right thing when the wrong situation occurred. And then I was seeking oblivion from everything, only to wake in the night with cold sweats, any sound disturbing me, dragging me to find the right answers, always thinking it was up to me to solve the issue and the conundrum, no more. And that often, when I was reading that, I was thinking of heartbreak situations where we lose people out of our lives. We lose the woman of our dreams, in my case, or if you're a girl, or I don't know, whatever your orientation is, the person of your dreams, if you lose them and you don't want to, the heartbreak is excruciatingly painful and emotional, and we don't like it. But we probably get there in that situation because we try to make things a certain way, and the more we try to make it so, the less it is, because we're imposing condition upon condition. So by freeing ourselves and saying, I love unconditionally, and if this person is going from my life, I may not know how to live without them for a bit. And I can remember saying this to somebody. She was as dear to me as could be. I said, I don't know how I'm going to cope without you when you're away. And the tears rolled down my face, and she cried for a day, a week, I don't know. But we never got back together because there was stubborn defiance in both of us about where we went and what we did. And holding on to or asserting the rightness of anything solves nothing. That's my learning around that. But I still love, without a doubt, and that's good. I can love and forget everything else. It's unconditional love. Yeah, there was harm done along the way. Every time I solved the problem for another person with my own view, harm might have been done because I stopped their spiritual progress. And we all have to learn with humility, and the more we can keep on learning with humility and laugh at ourselves in adversity, maybe that's good for us. But not to be shamed. If you shame people, you wound them, and when they get a chance, they may wound back. or be bigger, brighter, and more bold, and crushes. Being crushed can be useful, but not to the point of destruction. There are balances in all matters. Yet, every time I solved the problem for another with my own view, harm might have been done. I may have thought I knew better, but really, how could I? These days, life is about choices, freedom, and suggestions. No edicts from knowing the right path. I learn my path daily, and with less harm done to me or others. We all have our path. It is unique and authentic to us. One similarity in recovery, sober today, everything else is different as providence and nature require, or progress is hindered rather than helped. So we're all making progress in our own path and journey. Sometimes quickly, sometimes slowly, sometimes stubbornly, sometimes defiantly. But most often it works if we open our minds to new ideas and let go what is not working. Peace of mind, powerless over people, places and things, no more insanity. Let the world help through review, share truth, admit faults, find faith, list amends. Make amends and live differently. Daily review, reflect and listen, live life open, honest and willing. Share with humility daily, just for a moment or all day. Peace is there. I used to be in control and give people a piece of my mind. Always thought it was helpful to share. Nowadays I realise we're all learning. We can suggest, and in crisis we pull people from harm's way. So if you see somebody walking under a bus, give them a yank rather than give them a pull back. I have to be careful with my words. They mean different things in different countries. Yeah. We all need freedom to understand our choices. If asked for help, I suggest if I know. Interdependence is key just for today. And why is it interdependent? When you talk about independence, one view, one outlook. Interdependence, many views, many outlooks. In recovery, many views of sobriety, sharing, many people sharing, the many voices, diverse voices with one similarity, a desire to be sober. Wonderful, wonderful, isn't it? But you know, it's so hard at the beginning, so difficult at the beginning to let go our best friend for whatever length of time it's been, the one thing we could rely on until we were addicted to it, and it shaped us, well, rather than us shaping our future and the moment in which we live. The Serenity prayer, always at the end, I can change my outlook, attitudes and behaviour, learning life with humility, making mistakes. What I can't do is change your attitudes, opinions, behaviour. I may make suggestions, they may be useful, but with humility I accept that most times it may be completely inappropriate, and that's good too. Can do, can't do, wisdom to learn the difference. Those are the essence, the elements, if you like, of the Serenity prayer. What I can do, work on me a bit, get help. What I can't do, change you, make you anything, but can suggest things. And it's the wisdom to know the difference. So peace of mind comes out of acceptance of change in me, acceptance of where you are and how you live today. What a relief! But I will still get upset by politics, frenzied interventions which are about control, when those who say they are in control express themselves so badly in the Houses of Parliament, where they shout at each other. And when people shout at them from outside, what do? Move them on. Shut up. Not good. That is not democracy working well. And there'll be yes buts all the way through, which is do as I say, not as I do, which is not good. So all I can do is be me, work with the program, keep listening to other people, keep listening to the many voices. Attraction, not promotion. If I try to promote AA and say it will fix you, it won't, because you will always be disappointed that it didn't. For after all, the answer is within, not from outside, always. And to the God of your understanding, or simply good conscience, or whether you're atheist, agnostic, believer, a meditation does no harm to what we can and cannot do and learning the wisdom. So to God or in good conscience, as you come to understand for yourself, which is so important, God or in good conscience, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Works in the moment and always, just for today.